Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akash. I am the Chief Product and Design Officer for My Home Pathway. Johnson had a conflict and he could not actually do this, but he and I had a conversation about this, and I've prepared for you sort of the market trends and things that I believe are really important for you to understand when it comes to this economy, the housing market as it stands. So, first thing is that you should know this is a buyer's market. Right now is the best time to buy a home. Yes, interest rates are higher than we've seen at any time in the last 10 years. Based on all projections that we see, and you can read the news in reputable sources, it doesn't appear that the rates will come down at a significant low the way it was in the previous 10 years. If you look at the previous 10 years, they were artificially low, where you could get a mortgage for as low as even 2%. I don't believe that those types of rates are going to be apparent and obvious and available in this market. Over the last 8 weeks, we've actually seen rates come down. Average rate is 6.57% on a mortgage. So while that remains a little bit higher than your normal 2 to 3 or 4% that you may be used to, it is a buyer's market. Why? First, active listings are up almost 30%, which is 20 straight months of increased active listing. That means you have a lot more choices in the market today where you can buy a home. We also have seen that 33% of the inventory is unsold. It's higher than last year, back to 2019 levels, so pre-pandemic level performance, where we've seen a lot of inventory just sitting there waiting for buyers. So there are more sellers in the market today than there are buyers, which means the buyers have more choices and ability to negotiate the price that they want. We've also seen that around 22% of the listings nationwide have had to reduce their prices. And the reason is because not enough buyers are going there until the price becomes really attractive. So now is the perfect time for you to buy a home. If you think about the timing of the year, we're sitting in the middle of July. July, August, and September are some of the hottest months to buy a home. Usually, after that time, we get into holidays, we get into school. And so typically, less people are selling, less people are buying. So the activity kind of tapers down. This is the perfect time to buy because, number one, if you're a aspiring homeowner, aspiring home buyer, the inventory is in your favor. Sellers are cutting prices and they are giving you a better option to get your dream home. Now, the rates may be a little high, but don't let that deter you because if rates come down, you have the opportunity to refinance your loans at a later time. Yes, when you refinance, you will have a little bit of additional cash to have in your pocket for the processing fees and those types of things, but it may significantly reduce your mortgage. But at this time, we don't know how long it will take for the rates to come down enough for you to want to refinance. So I recommend not losing the opportunity. On a personal level, I myself am a current homeowner and looking for a home in a completely different area within Georgia. And I've seen micro changes happening around Atlanta and Atlanta suburban areas, which may be happening for you as well across the country. And the smaller things you'll see is while inventory is up, there may be highly popular areas where inventory might be up, but buyers are also very attracted to it. There might be other areas where you have few buyers interested in that area, but there are a lot of different homes that are up for sale. So as you're looking at your local market, as you're preparing to become a homeowner, think about where do you want to live? And is that area very popular? So it's going to be harder to buy a home, or it's an up and coming area. There's a lot of new development, so people may not have discovered it yet, and you can get a really great deal in that area. So the market today says buy now. If you're selling, it is difficult, but there are pockets where sellers have a really good opportunity to sell because those micro areas, and you have to think about zip codes specifically surrounding where you want to live. Some of those areas, prices are going up. But by and large, if you look at really large states like Florida, Texas, California, we have seen housing prices come down, inventory of houses going up, and buyers having more leverage than they have in the past few years. Now, if you're an aspiring homeowner, but you're not yet ready, how can My Home Pathway help you? We are an organization that allows you to control your own journey through the technology we've created. So the way it works is you sign up with us. First of all, it's completely free. We never ever charge you for our services. Once you sign up, you tell us a little bit about yourself. You tell us about your journey, your aspirations, which area you want to buy a home in, and then give some access to financial information that is really important for a lender to give you a loan. So tell us about your credit score. Tell us about your spending habits. Tell us a little bit about your income and your purchasing power. That gives us data to assess how far you are from today to becoming a homeowner. And we have a large set of preferred and trusted lenders who work with our customers to issue them a loan. Now, what would happen is once you come into the door, you would see a screen similar to this, where you have your credit score, your debt to income ratio, your down payment savings percentage. These are the three most critical metrics that lenders look at before issuing a loan. Well, we show that to you on your dashboard. In addition to that, we give you a set of recommendations that you can focus on to improve each and every one of those metrics. I'll give you an example. For me personally, I have a good credit score. I have a pretty decent amount of money saved towards my next home. But my biggest struggle is my debt to income ratio, because my debts, the number of expenses I have each month, are a little high compared to my monthly income. So my recommendations on My Home Pathway are primarily related to how to reduce debt, how to reduce expenses. I have access to different partners that My Home Pathway has made deals with to help me reduce expenses. I recently reduced my insurance payments by working with Insurify, one of our partners, to get a lower car insurance payment. That reduced my debt to income ratio. And I am slowly inching towards becoming ready for a mortgage. And I am excited. So I hope you would join us on this journey. Once we connect you to a lender and they issue you a loan, those lenders give us a fee, which allows us to run the organization, improve our product, and help other aspiring homeowners just like you. And then I have a really exciting news to share with you. First of all, we're about to launch in a few weeks a brand new rewards platform. The way it works is we're going to launch 4 different levels to how rewards are going to be organized. Every time you do an activity on the platform, you become more ready for the next level. So here's an example. Level 1 All you have to do is set up your profile and you reach level one. And there's a set of rewards that you will get at the end of reaching level one. Level two is doing your courses. We offer several financial courses. You can look at them, you can go through the materials, you can take the quizzes. And once you complete that, you get credit towards level two. Once you finish level two, you're now ready for level three, where we ask you to complete all of the recommendations we've given you to improve your credit score, your debt to income ratio, and your down payment savings. At the end of reaching level three, you will be able to redeem gift cards to spend towards whatever expenses are helpful to you. Then level four is the final level, and that is when you become mortgage ready. The moment you become mortgage ready and you've already completed the first three levels, you get the fourth level. And at fourth level, you have even more money to redeem towards your gift cards. We're really excited about this rewards program because one, it reinforces really good behavior. Second, it allows each individual to have a little bit of extra cash in their pocket at the end of the journey. And they're aligned, the rewards are aligned to your success. So the more you succeed, the more rewards are unlocked and ultimately get you mortgage ready. So that's in short my presentation about the current market and how My Home Pathway can help you, and how we are going to roll out a brand new rewards program to accelerate your experience on the platform. Next, I will answer some questions. Now, we received some questions from users prior to, but feel free to add comments. We have a moderator on the back who will give me those questions, and I'm happy to answer those questions for you. So again, thank you for joining, and let me take the first question. First question is, my son is 30 years old and has no credit. He's never had a credit card, auto, or personal loan. How can he build credit to buy a home? This is a fantastic question. And believe it or not, it's all too common. A really large majority of Americans have little to no credit history. When you have little to no credit history, you don't have a credit score, or you don't have a good credit score. When you don't have a good credit score, you can't get loans, credit cards, or any type of money that you can borrow. So that makes the situation difficult. But here's the good news. It is really easy to start building a path forward. So first thing I would recommend you do is create an account on My Home Pathway, connect as much information as you can, and follow the recommendations. One of the early recommendations you're going to get are one of two things. First, do you currently pay rent somewhere? If you do, we can actually start reporting your rent to the credit bureaus, and that slowly starts to behave like you took out a mortgage or a credit card. It slowly starts to build your credit. Second thing is, if you don't pay rent and that's not your situation, but you have, say, maybe $100 available to spend on something, you can get access to a secured card without any kind of a credit check. The way it works is you put $100 towards this credit card. The credit card issues you a $100 credit limit card. You can start using it. It starts to behave like a credit card. Every month you pay that credit card off, and then you spend it again, you pay it off, you spend it again. And as time goes on, usually about 2 to 3 months of really good behavior of spending the money and paying it off every month, you can actually increase the number of dollars you're allowed to spend. And then if you do that long enough, you can have a complete credit history and you can get an unsecured credit card. where you don't need to have cash on hand at all. You just get a credit limit from a credit card company. So slowly you can build this product. Now, typically, when you have absolutely no credit, it may take you a good 6 to 9 months to get to a point where you have some kind of a credit history. And it depends on how big of a home or how expensive of a home that you want to buy. You may have to you may have to do this for around 24 months on the high end. Nonetheless, if you're an aspiring homeowner, and right now you don't have any plan on how to get there, I think 2 years seems pretty short to become a homeowner. So I would highly encourage you to go to myhomepathway.com, sign up for an account, give us all the information that we're asking for, and we will help you by giving you recommendations to improve your credit score. Thank you so much for that question. It was a fantastic question, and it is an all too common situation. Here's a second question. After paying for a down payment on a home, how much money should I have left over to pay for everything else? This is a really good question. So obviously, when you're in a situation where you're about to buy a home, there are new expenses you're about to take on. New expenses like your mortgage, for example, which is a monthly payment. You might have a homeowners association fee, which may be monthly or annual. You're going to have utilities. You're going to have your normal groceries and gas. So there's not a specific number that I want to share with you, but what you want to do is look at your monthly expenses and try to have around 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses level of cash available after you buy a home. So let's say you buy a $250,000 home. Let's say your down payment was $25,000. Well, and your monthly expenses are $5,000. You should at least have $15,000 sitting in your bank account the day you close on your house. That will assure that you have enough runway for surprises and those types of things as you're inching your way towards home ownership. Remember, getting into a home is difficult. Maintaining a home is harder. And so we really want to encourage everyone to think through the amount of expenses you have to have in your pocket before you close on a home. That's a fantastic question, and often people forget about it. So thank you for asking. We received another question from a user. They said, with the market always changing, how do I know if it's the right time to buy or if I should wait? What insights does My Home Pathway offer to help me make these decisions confidently? That's a great question. Market is always changing. And I don't think that you can wait for the market to be exactly perfect for you to start looking for a home. What I would suggest is start looking for a home, start seeing how many homes are in the area that you want to buy. Do they meet all of your requirements? Even give it a shot, go to an open house or two, get a sense for what you can afford, get a sense for what is available in the market. And that'll give you an idea of the amount of money that you need to have to get into a home. So that's kind of one. There's no right time as far as like certain economic indicators to say this is the perfect time to buy. Yes, there are certain things that we can tell you that says today's the buyer's market. And I shared that at the start of this webinar. But there is no such thing as right time to buy from an economic standpoint. It is right time to buy at an individual level. So it's about you. Is your income appropriate to get into a home? Is your credit score appropriate to get into a home? Are your debts low enough to where your debt to income ratio is below a certain threshold where a loan officer would issue a loan? These are the questions that you're going to want to ask yourself. But here's the best part. You don't have to be overwhelmed by all of those questions all on your own. sign up for My Home Pathway, set up an account, connect all the information that we are asking for, and My Home Pathway will slowly walk you through each of your process and get you to mortgage ready. And once you're mortgage ready, we have a pretty large set of highly reputable, trustworthy lenders on our platform, and they are ready to issue a loan. So thanks so much for asking this question. I'm going to check to see if we have other questions. So we have, we have one more question. Saving for a down payment feels impossible with today's housing prices. Are there any hidden resources or strategies beyond just saving every penny that My Home Pathway can connect me with to reach my goal faster? Yeah, this is a really great question, because down payment savings is really intimidating to reach. So let's kind of start with some basics. There are loans today that you can get with 0% down. Those loans are not favorable loans. You're not going to get favorable interest rates. You're not going to get a very large loan. However, they are available. So keep in mind that you actually sometimes need $0 in your pocket to become a homeowner. But there is a very high risk to that. And the risk is that you may not be able to make your monthly payments. So I do not suggest you jump at the opportunity of doing 0% down unless you're willing to pay a much higher monthly payment, because you start to pay penalties until you at least reach 20% of the housing price. So that's kind of one thing to keep in mind. Secondly, typically you would need anywhere between 3% to 10% of cash of the price of the home to get started on your down payment. So if the home was $100,000, anywhere between $3,000 and $10,000 is sufficient to get going. But saving your money is intimidating. And here's the great news. My Home Pathway has access to two different resources where we give you access to Freddie Mac's down payment assistance program, and there are a few other down payment assistance programs. The way they work is you look at the down payment assistance program that are in your area. There are about 3,000 different assistance programs around the country. See which ones you qualify for based on the criteria that each down payment assistance process has. You have to go through a pretty long process, and we say long as in it might take you about 2 to 3 weeks to go through this. There are some courses you have to take. There's some evidence that you have to provide. But at the end of the day, when you do all of those things and you're going to get assistance towards down payment, they may cover your entire down payment. Many of these are government programs that don't necessarily require payback. So My Home Pathway will give you access to those resources, which are not available anywhere else easily. Now I'm going to check to see if we have any other comments or questions. That's right. Okay. There are no more questions from the audience. So the last thing I want to share with everyone is, first of all, we really thank you so much for being part of My Home Pathway's family. We understand that homeownership is a very difficult thing, especially for underserved communities, for first-time home buyers. This is a daunting task. We set out a mission to make that easy. We are all homeowners or aspiring homeowners ourselves. We have a long history in understanding banking and technology, and we have a long history in understanding how much homeownership can change your future trajectory and your family's generational wealth trajectory. So we're really passionate about this. We never charge for this service. We make our money once a lender issues you a loan. So your wins are aligned with our wins. And we really want you to join, tell your friends and family about our product. and give us feedback if there's anything that we can do to make it even better. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.